Welcome to PMPA's Final Cut of the Week, where we share important information you may have missed while you were making essential parts. I'm Miles Free.
And I'm David Wynn. This is what you need to know for the week ending November 17th, 2023.
The Producer Price Index for final demand fell 0.5% in October, seasonally adjusted, after advancing 0.4% in September, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported. The October decline is the largest decrease in final demand prices since a 1.2% drop in April 2020. On an unadjusted basis, the index for final demand rose 1.3% for the 12 months ended in October. In October, the index for final demand goods fell 1.4%. A major factor in the October decline was the index for final demand energy, which dropped 6.5%. Our take? The drop in Producer Price Index was unexpected, as was its magnitude, the largest drop since April 2020 during onset of the pandemic. Over 80% of the October decline in the index for final demand goods is attributable to the 15.3% drop in prices for gasoline. Energy prices continue to be the volatile wild card in our shop's business performance.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the CPI in October was unchanged from September. Core inflation rose 2% in October, coming in at 1% less than the 3% increase in September. Year-over-year CPI was up only 3.2%, a dramatic slowdown from the last couple of years and continuing the trend we saw in September. Our industry has seen a significant cooling of price increases in recent months. The labor market also cooled somewhat. Price volatility will be leaving the market as we are headed toward greater price stability, matching our long-term trends.
Manufacturing activity increased in New York State according to the November survey. The General Business Conditions Index rose 14 points to 9.1, its highest reading since April. 33% of respondents reported that conditions had improved over the month, while 24% reported that conditions had worsened. The New Orders Index held steady at negative 4.9, pointing to another small decline in orders, while the Shipments Index rose 8 points to 10.0, pointing to an increase in shipments. The index for future business conditions plunged 24 points to minus 0.9, its lowest level in nearly a year. There continues to be a lot of pessimism in the media about business outlook, and this latest data from the New York Fed gives us a slightly improved condition for manufacturing at the present time. However, the plunge in future outlook suggests that we need to continue to be cautious with our planning and stay current on our receivables.
Global steel production was down 1.5% in September when compared to production a year earlier. China was down 5.9%, while the rest of the world production was up 3.9%. Even though total output dropped slightly year over year, it is a good sign that the rest of the world is increasing steel production. The bulk of the decrease coming in from lower Chinese production. Germany, South Korea, and the United States all increased production. Total production for year to date is up 1% over 2022.
On this week's Speaking of Precision podcast, Carly Kistler-Miller, David, and I discuss proxy indicators in our shops and how they can help us communicate our vision, mission, and purpose. This podcast and our Speaking of Suppliers podcast can be found on major podcast platforms or on pmpa.org.
Now it's time for our weekly tip. ISO turning, what does it all mean? When it comes to ISO turning inserts, there's a lot of confusion about what all those different letters and numbers mean. For charts and explanations on ISO turning inserts, go to pmpa.org's Knowledge Centers or Final Cut of the Week. And that's our take on what you need to know for the week ending October 17th, 2023. For additional information and links about any of the topics discussed today, go to pmpa.org and click on Final Cut of the Week.
Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next Friday. Welcome to PM.
To attract employees. Around the country are once again taking first. Okay, that's all. Programs? Does your company have training and okay.